About the Jupyter Notebook. So what we can do is we can create titles and subtitles, and the way we would do this is we want to go ahead and use Markdown. You can write out any text that you want, and these little hash symbols, what they do is they change the size of our headings. So say we add more hash symbols, we end up getting our text to be smaller, and if we have less, we end up having that we have a bigger text. So with this markdown, it's really nice because it's a way to write down all your thoughts and ideas and your findings all in one place. So in order to kind of run this and make it look nice, we would press Shift Enter to run it. The same thing right here. And right here, I kind of wrote out like some background for myself, just so that I know what I'm doing with these calculations and the theory behind it. So I would press Shift Enter, and it looks like a nice little text right here. Now, say you wanted to organize your input and output files. You could do the same thing right here. What you would want to do instead of using Markdown is use raw NBC convert. And what it does is you just copy and paste all your inputs and output files, and it kind of separates them in a nice way so it doesn't downgrade into a text, and so our notebook doesn't confuse it as code either. It just simply keeps it as it is. Now, say we wanted to do some plotting. What we can do then is right here, say we had some data, right? And we wanted to make a table out of it. What we would want to do is import pandas as PD, import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, import numpy as MP. So this is just a good way of importing all the things you need from your matplot libraries. And then what we would want to do is, say you already have your data on an Excel sheet or somewhere else, what you could do is you could go ahead and take that data, and what's nice about this Jupyter Notebook is you can directly create text files through here. So we can make a new text file. So we want to put, we're comparing maybe album sales or whatever. So we can say something like sales.text. Maybe we have all our data like 1, 2. All you would have to do is copy all your data into here, make sure that you save it, and when we download, we can download it through here. But make sure that you organize your downloads because it can be kind of messy when you're plotting a bunch of different things. So make sure that you have them in a file or a folder that you can keep track of. And so when you go back to your Jupyter Notebook, we can create an array. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it a name, say sales or something, right? But sales dot whatever. But we decided to use convergence for KP because that's what we were plotting. This read CSV takes the text file that you created, but make sure that you have the right directory. So even though you changed it to a different folder, make sure you're putting the right one, because I had so many downloads and it was kind of confusing to figure out which one was which. So I had to go back and change my directories. So right here, make sure you want to put the right file name. So we used sales.text. But that's just an example, so I'm going to go back and use mine. It creates it in an array for us, and so when you run the code, this convergence KP right here is going to show us what we're outputting. So once we run it, Shift Enter, we get this nice looking table right here. Now say we wanted to plot some of our data, right? What's nice about Python is we can plot by columns and by rows. So but we typically, for scientific purposes, we tend to go by column. So we have this thing called an index. So even though this is my first column right here, this would be my index 0. So it kind of labels off as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, right? But even though we have maybe about, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we have 7 columns, but my index would stop at 6. So let's say we wanted to plot, like in my example down here, we're plotting this first one, which is my shifted K-mesh, or K-grid, and we're plotting against the change in total energy per atom in electron volts. So yes, even though this is my 5th column, the index is 4 for the column, so we would put that right here. And what's nice is that in these little brackets, the left side indicates rows and the right side indicates columns. So since we were working with columns, we put the index right here. So it takes all of our values from the column, and then we can also put an X label right here. So make sure to put your units, and same thing for the Y label. And what's nice too is this Y limit. This was just kind of to help us see what was going on with the convergence and see on a smaller scale. But say we didn't really need that code and we wanted to look on a larger scale. This hash now, when you're using the code option, it comes in handy because it works as a way of commenting out some of your code. So say we run this, we would get a nice looking graph like this. Now if we were to take out that comment and run it again, you can see that we have our plot on a smaller scale. So this is just a little tutorial of the Jupyter Notebook. It's a great way to organize all your files and data, and write about your findings all in one place. But thank you guys for watching this tutorial, and I'll see y'all next time.